You're listening to Flip Empire, the show committed to helping real estate entrepreneurs who want to build their empire without sacrificing their life. Your success and freedom starts now with your host, Alex Pardo.
Welcome to the Flip Empire Show. This is Alex Pardo. So grateful for you tuning in to another masterclass here. Actually, my apologies. This is not a masterclass. This is a Thursday show. Nevertheless, it's my goal and my aim to just completely over-deliver for you on this call. And what I want to do is I want to piggyback on Monday's podcast episode, which was kind of a unique one. It was an inside behind the scenes look at a storage mastermind call that I was involved with three other buddies of mine who are very successful entrepreneurs and just killing it in the storage game. And we always record, we have a monthly call, and I got permission from them to kind of share some feedback on some challenges that they were having with regards to finding A players, finding the right team members. People refer to them as rock stars. And so I definitely encourage you to check out episode 622, and we're going to build on that. But before I do that, I'm so appreciative when I'm able to connect people with others, with resources, when I kind of just point them in the right direction. And hopefully this doesn't sound like I'm patting myself on the back, because that is not what I'm doing. But if you've never heard of ERC, Employee Retention Credit, I want to encourage you, strongly encourage you to listen to episode 598, which is titled All You Need to Know About the Employee Retention Credit. I had one of the owners of this company, Josh Z, on the podcast, and we broke down ERC and just what an incredible opportunity it is, that is just money sitting on the sidelines that you can get in the form of a credit that doesn't have to be paid back, that is just from the IRS. And this is if you had W-2 employees in either 2020 or 2021. I've told quite a few of my friends and mastermind members and those in my inner circle about this. And to date, there's a total of just under $730,000 that a handful of people that I've told that have taken the action have taken the 5-10 minutes on checkerc.com to fill out their information and see if they qualify. Over $730,000. I'm sorry, just under $730,000 in credits that they're getting back from the IRS. Pretty incredible. Here's my quick kind of CYA disclaimer. I am not an attorney. I'm not a CPA. I'm not giving you any type of legal or financial advice. I highly encourage you to connect with your CPA, your attorney. Make sure that anything you do, you kind of run through them. That's my quick CYA and disclaimer. But yeah, it's pretty incredible opportunity. What's really cool about this is that if you go to irs.gov and you just search for ERC, Employee Retention Credit, you can read all about it. Part of the challenge with this is that, sometimes people think it's a scam or it's too good to be true. And this is a program, a COVID relief program set up, from the CARES Act to go ahead and give back to those entrepreneurs and employers who kept employees in 2020 and 2021. I've connected with a lot of people that even if you made too much money during that time, if you had any type of supply chain disruption, you could still qualify. So really want to encourage you guys, check ERC.com. ERC stands for Employee Retention Credit. Check ERC.com. One of my friends who has a pretty big business in the, well, I won't say what industry, but she's getting back over $550,000 in credit, which is pretty incredible, pretty amazing. So check ERC.com. Highly encourage you. It's worth the 5-10 minutes. So with that being said, along those lines, I think that kind of ties into us talking about team members and employees and all that, whether you employ anybody or whether you have an independent contractor. I talked about on the last episode how you want to create an avatar. You want to get crystal clear on the type of person that you want to work with. And I've gotten some great feedback on that particular episode. And my buddy Tom Kroll earlier today posted something that I want to read, and he put this on his Facebook. So I know I have permission to share this on the podcast. So shout out to you, Tom. I appreciate you, buddy. He put, this is in quotes, "Have your spouse handle the first round of interviews for your new assistant position. They are a better judge of character than you are and should be comfortable with the person that you will be spending so much time with." And I think that's fantastic advice. And I want to kind of expound and build on that. One of my mentors early on years ago, a gentleman by the name of Rob Swanson, who I've also had on the podcast as well, just a brilliant investor. When I was sharing with him our interview process, when I ran the wholesaling operation, we used to take people through a 2-step interview process. At the time, it was on Skype, and then it transitioned to Zoom. And that was an in-person interview. And we would stop there. And one of the things that Rob shared with me is as a third step to the interview process, take them out to lunch or dinner. And if they're married or they have a boyfriend or girlfriend, take them out with their significant other. And yes, naturally, you're going to spend some time talking about the company and the position and the opportunity, but get outside of that and try to see them for who they are. Most importantly, have your significant other, your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, kind of get a sense for who they are as a person. Because if there's crazy at home, they're going to bring crazy into the business. And that can disrupt your culture. That can disrupt your environment. And ever since he told me that years ago, we implemented that. And all of my hires that were local, sure enough, you know, if they got past the first round, so usually the first interview was with somebody on my team. And the reason I like that is because people are going to see things and hear things from different perspectives, right? And oftentimes we end up hiring people that we like and that we can relate to, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the person you should hire. In fact, oftentimes it's an indication that you shouldn't hire that person if they're too like you. So general rule of thumb, I always like to have other people interview somebody for the position. And then the second step would be an in-person interview with myself and the candidate, or you could do like a small group or panel, depending on the size of your company. And then last but not least, I highly encourage you to take that person out to lunch or dinner and have your spouse or significant other, if you have a significant other. And if you don't, maybe have somebody in your company go with them, because they might spot things that you don't. You have blind spots and you might be already sold on hiring that person going into that dinner or going into that lunch, whatever the case might be. And they could maybe see things that they can bring to your attention. And then you can have a conversation about it and see if there's merit to it or maybe there's not. So I appreciate Tom for putting that post. Again, that it's so true. If you're going to hire a personal assistant or somebody who's going to be like your right-hand man or woman, you're going to be spending a lot of time with that person. It makes sense that your significant other should be comfortable with that person. But just generally speaking, regardless of the position you hire, highly encourage you to implement that as part of your interview process, and make sure that you have an extra set of eyes to evaluate that person on a personal level. If you're not leveraging tools like the Culture Index, or to a lesser degree, Colby Disc, those are tools that you should definitely utilize to see what's the person's MO. How are they going to function within your culture, within your environment? And you want to be slow to hire and quick to fire. I made the mistake years ago, and I've made the mistake several times where I've been quick to hire because there's been a pain point. There's been something that I wanted to get off my plate, and I've been too slow to fire when I just knew in my gut and in my heart that it wasn't the right fit anymore. So hopefully that helps for you. And again, if you, just as a quick aside here, back to what I alluded to at the top of the podcast, check ERC.com. If you had employees, this is not for independent contractors, but if you had W-2 employees in the year 2020 and the first 3 quarters of 2021, go to checkerc.com, go through the short 5-10 minute process to see if you qualify. Even if you made a certain amount of money, if there was a supply chain disruption or some other qualifiers, you may still qualify. And like I said, I had several friends and just people that are in my inner circle go through the process, and $36,260 one person's getting, $34,823 another person's getting, 14 grand. 20 grand in change. I mean, it adds up. And this is a credit that you'll get at some point this year from the IRS. So, but again, as always, check with your CPA, check with the pros on your team, and hopefully it ends up panning out for you if you decide to check it out. So that's what I got for you on today's show. As always, I look forward to just connecting on the next one. So if you need anything, reach out. You know where to reach me. And if you wouldn't mind, share this episode, share the podcast with somebody. We continue to grow, and I appreciate it. Would just mean the world to me if you took the time to share this episode with others. Thank you so much. Have an incredible day. One last thing before you go. If you have been listening to the show for a while and/or you have been getting value from the show, I would be 100% honored if you would share this show with a friend, or maybe share it with somebody that you think could benefit from this. It's my mission, it's my cause, it's my purpose through Flip Empire to impact and touch people's lives, to help people and in their businesses. So it would be an honor if you would be willing to share this episode. And one last thing, make sure that you're subscribed so that you get notified every Monday and Thursday when shows get released. I look forward to connecting with you on the next one. Until then, have a great day.